Jake. How are you?
I'm doing all right, got a lot of irons in the fire today, but I'm
Yeah.
alive.
You're looking very alive, mate. You look very well.
Trying.
First thing you said, you're working on some Converge stuff. Is that just the media stuff today, or have you got other things?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like every day so we're we don't have management or anything
Yeah.
like that. Never
Yeah.
have. So everything that we do is primarily self-managed, like
Yeah.
we have help for sure, like we have like a company that does our accounting, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But like, like all like the day-to-day stuff, can be a lot, especially when we're like in a position like now, like doing a bunch of press and whatnot. And typically we'd have a busy day already. Uh, you
Mm.
know, Now it's just like, hey, busy day just came here. But it's not really a complaint, more an observation. It just kind of is what it is. So you just
Yeah.
kind of, you just accept it and just go, all right, well, let's make the best of it.
Yeah. I like that outlook. It's awesome. Let's go straight into it because we'll try to keep it to
Yeah, sure,
15
let's do it.
minutes. This album is extraordinary. Congratulations. Probably make my album of the year again. How are you feeling?
Um, I feel okay. I don't
Yeah.
really I'm still very much, in that creative process. So like I don't have that perspective yet that it's like that something's over. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like
Yeah, of course.
um because it's just not, there's just lots of moving parts still that I'm, dealing with on a daily basis. So like I don't feel as like I don't have that sense of like relief, where I'm like,
Hmm.
that's all over. It's just not the way it works for me. Um,
Yeah.
like, and some of that is just the amount of work that needs to be done as an artist that's self-managed. There's always something to do.
Hmm.
Whether it be something creative or something related to the inner workings of the band in some capacity, whether it be like, us figuring out, tour A or B or like, I don't know. There's always endless things that come up that we need to, discuss or deal with in some capacity. So it's a self-made problem, and
Yeah.
we're okay with that.
Yeah. It's a pretty good problem considering what we're 30 something years in and the hype about Converge, and you're releasing music that I think is poetically and powerfully more relevant to the world, especially lyrically. I'd love to get into that. That
Sure.
really alters my heartbeat still. Like these are all good things as far as I'm concerned as an observer. How are you feeling
Well,
about it as an artist?
well, thank you for that, for taking that time to like connect with that aspect of,
Mm.
what we are and and what we're putting out into the world. Um, Again, it's a double-edged sword where like
Yeah.
it feels good to be able to share things with people, but it also hurts too, in the sense that, these our songs are ones which are they're personal in nature. They're still
Mm.
they're very much like rooted in our everyday lives. There's no sort of like fantasy here. So like, when I'm like working through things in my own life, I'm doing it through the art form itself. So just because the song is done doesn't mean that that aspect of your life is sort of now compartmentalized and sort of under control. You're still very much sort of dealing with all of the things that, brought me to the dance to write the songs in the first place, and they're all still very much real things for me on a daily basis. So, um, yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm not there yet. I hope to
Okay.
be though at some point.
Yeah.
I definitely do not, my goal as an artist is to not create something and just move on, but I want a positive psychological response from myself in that process, right? So like I'm just not fully there with this one yet. I'm still in the weeds.
Yeah, fair enough. So, do you think part of that process or understanding your expression comes with the live performance of some of these songs too?
It can for sure because it
Yeah.
gives you a different sort of look at the material, you know. It's like if you're playing a song over and over again, like eventually you kind of get to this point where like you're emotionally very still attached to it, but you're not living it in that moment. You may be relating to it and you may be emoting and sort of feeling it, but it could also become about something else in that
Yeah,
moment. I think
absolutely.
that, yeah, and like that's a that's a thing that happens. I feel like if when that happens, that's probably when I know I've had some distance, enough distance to sort of um free me a little bit from the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of love how you brought that up because I was going over some of the lyrics this morning, and with the "We Were Never the Same," this epic closer, I felt a lot of just personally, it might be different to you, a lot of relevance with like Joy Division lyrics and that kind of power.
Interesting.
And we've learned like that statement, we've learned nothing in our distance, that really hit me hard. And
Mm.
as far as I understand it from the biography, this is kind of funeral related. Was that an actual aspect that you had in your footsteps to, saying goodbye to someone, or is this a more outsider's perspective when you were crafting these pretty powerful words? I'm not going to lie.
No, I mean it's about my life, you know, and about
Yeah.
in my sort of reflections on what I was going through at that particular point in time.
Mm.
And, you know, since then, like that feels like it was um feels like it was yesterday because it really wasn't that far from today, you
Mm.
know. And I don't think that, you know, that aspect of my life certainly hasn't resolved itself or improved itself in ways that I can say have drastically changed since, you know, like that song was written or that aspect of that song was written, you know, like but I'm aware of it and I'm working on it to the best of my ability.
Mm.
And, you know, I think that's all I can sort of offer myself in the world in terms of like dealing with, you know, something like this in a responsible manner. But yeah, just because you make the art doesn't mean that the all the other things sort of dissipate. They're still very much present and very much real. And you know, making the art and music is an important step in just being a better person and just trying to do the thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of felt I worked in healthcare for a very long time, and
Mm,
one of the things that a doctor said to me was, after you give bad news to a patient, something like that, or even if
mm,
they pass away, there's no one else in that room besides medical staff who goes straight back to work. Everyone
hmm.
else has to process, or
Yes,
that
for
you're the
for
loved
sure.
ones and stuff like that, and that always stuck with me quite a lot. And when I read, and I could empathize because it was the same for me. I had to go straight back to work, and when I
Hmm.
read these lyrics, I could really empathize with that thought process of, we don't cherish what happened with this poor person that's passed. We actually just move on. And there's strength in that and resilience, which I think comes through, but there's also that loss of connection. And in a world where we're living where connection is probably more possible than ever, we actually feel more disconnected. And
Absolutely.
I was wondering if that was kind of something that you're experiencing more and more as an artist as well and able to reflect on.
Yeah, you have an interesting take on that, you know. Uh, for me, the process of yeah, like the process of like, you know, like making a song or like, you know, being in this band and like, you know, sharing things has always been it's always been quite selfish, right? It's always about
Yeah.
the purging of all of that. and I've never left emotionally satisfied from like a song or
Yeah.
like, something that we've kind of put out into the world. And I don't know if a song could do that, maybe
Mm.
that's reasons why I'm here in the first place, to work through these things and sort of, I don't know, anguish in front of the public. But I'm trying. And I think that's like all we kind of can do and like, just try to be aware of, what we're putting out into this world.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question,
Sure.
if we have time.
Yeah.
Um, do you, when you listen to a band like ours, do you hear it as something which is a a positive experience, an uplifting experience for you, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I've been following you guys for a long, long time. So, depending on the record too. So, I think the first
Sure.
proper experience where I attached to Converge was when Eagles become vultures, and
Hmm.
that was so relevant to me at that point in my life, realizing, I guess that for me, I felt like the carry on of a vulture. People just tearing me apart, but I was
Sure.
also inspired to, I guess, move upward and be more like an eagle instead of someone who's getting abused, for the lack of a better word there. So
Sure.
for that, I find that uplifting. But
Well, it's interesting because like
yeah,
that take is, and that's kind of that's my goal, right? As
yeah,
the person writing the song, it's not going to be heard that way by most
mm,
people, and that's okay,
yeah,
but it's part of it. So I'm always just kind of curious as to, like where it lands for people because, I as a person, I try to disconnect from the song once it's out in the world.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, because you can't control it. You'll go crazy if you want people to understand it the way that you felt it.
Mm,
It's not all it's after the selfish experience of writing a song and putting it out into the world. After that, it's kind of no longer yours. It's kind of
yeah,
the
yeah, absolutely. I loved the Wear Your Wounds project. Did you find that
Mhm.
was a bit more, because obviously the intensity is still there, but in a different wavelength? Did you find
Mhm.
that one, and expressing those words a little more? You could probably put it better than me, but I found it, with a connection that I was like, you are human and you're wearing yourself out there, as your heart on your sleeve, whatever you want to put it as. Did you find that process more therapeutic or even challenging?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Was definitely, part of the process of just kind of trying to trim off as much of the decoration
Mm.
from anything, and just kind of get down to the sort of raw nerve of the song, I think that that project, since it's a bit uh I don't want to say it's like approachable, but it's like
Yes.
it's a little more it it's super heavy, super depressing, but
Mm.
not it's also not all abrasive 110% volume all of the time. And so it has a different kind of weight. I feel like with that, there's definitely some people that came to that, hearing it and understanding like, oh, there's a different thing, different voice within these people that are typically known for heavy music.
Mm.
Um, but it's just, it's the same muscle, different sounds,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I find
Yeah.
them both to be equally as fulfilling. I would say they're both equally as fulfilling as an individual, as a person, just kind of, dealing with it.
Yeah.
Music.
Just on that kind of, dimension that you're in there, did you, with the Blood Moon project and working with Chelsea Wolfe, was there, connection lyrically between you guys, even, the melodic sense as well? I've heard that she actually, for Death Heaven, she actually really walked them through melody quite a lot in the studio. How was that,
Oh,
collaboration?
yeah, like we didn't have that kind of experience with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I probably was because were building we were building something together, so it's a
Yeah.
different kind of It's just a different kind of experience. Um, what I did find to be interesting about that was just writing for other people.
Mm,
Where I'm writing melodies and things for uh and lyrics for Chelsea and Steve that are in a they're basically being played by, for lack of better terminology, virtuosos to
mm,
me that have a different kind of superpower than my superpower. Um, so that always kind of felt unique and exciting to do um, with Chelsea and with Steve. Just writing for different people.
mm.
It just feels different. And and also going the other way as well. Like they were bringing ideas to the table and bringing lyrics to the table and things. So it wasn't like a one sort of directional sort of thing for us. We were all kind of in it, getting
Yeah,
after it. Um, which was, I think, really exciting for all of us because you know, we're all we're bringing it all to the table. Like all of a sudden, the song becomes something so much greater than you could ever have thought it could be. Just because of
yeah,
a different voice that you never thought to play that kind of song.
yeah, absolutely. I better call it there, Jacob. You got a hell of a day ahead. Thank you so
Okay,
much for your
well,
time. I've been
hey,
waiting years for this.
thank you, and thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problems at all. Good luck with it all. Can't wait to have you back in Australia at some point. I hope it's soon.
For sure, we're working on it, so hopefully it'll come together soon.